anyone's here or what, but we will get started nonetheless. Okay. All right, so I think we're live. I believe we are live. Welcome to August's live discussion of Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle in the Midnight Society Book Club. And so I'm excited to talk about this with y'all. If you don't know, I am Elizabeth. My channel is Reading Riley. And then the book club is the Midnight Society Book Club. We like to read horror, thriller, feminist type books. This one 100% fits the bill. And so we are submitting for the approval. That's it. We're submitting for the approval of the Midnight Society Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle. And then I have two co-hosts with me here today. We were supposed to have three. Unfortunately, Barb is sick, and so she is not going to make it today. So we have three of us total now. But I'm very happy to have you ladies, you wonderful ladies with me and joining me to discuss this. So we have Katrina, and then we also have Jordaline. And I'm going to ask them to tell you about their channels. I have all of their links down below in the description. Go check them out, go follow them, support them if you so choose, if you like. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Katrina, do you want to start and tell us a little bit about your channel, the kind of books that you like to read, and then maybe what your last 5-star book was?
Yeah, my channel is Katrina Brown, and I read mostly horror. As you can probably tell from my shelves, lots of spooky books, and I do like Halloween decor hunting on my channel and some decoration and all that fun stuff. I celebrate Halloween 365. And I just started a book club as well called the Reaper Book Club, Life's Short, Read Horror. And yeah, I'm in my second month of that. So that's been really fun.
Oh, that's awesome. So what did y'all read this month?
Suffer the Darkness by Yolanda Sufsos. It's like a little novella. All the books I'm going to choose, since there's so many book clubs, they're all novellas at under 200 pages.
Nice. That's perfect, because then if somebody wants to join in last minute, they can.
Yeah. I was like, there's so many book clubs these days, so which is awesome. I like to participate in like as many as I can, but it can be stressful sometimes.
Yeah, same. And I felt that same way before I started this book club. I was like, is there a space? Like there's so many, but you know what? I've had so much fun doing this and then getting to collaborate with other book creators. And I don't regret it for a second. And what was the last 5-star book you read? Did you say that already?
I didn't. The last 5-star book I read, I had a rough reading month in August. I was a co-host for Garb August, so I read a lot of garbage. And so not many 5 stars out of that trash. But I did read Delicate Condition by Danielle Valentine, like what the new season of American Horror Story is based off of, or going to be based off of, Delicate. And I really liked that one and gave it 5 stars.
Okay, I have been hearing about that one from several different places now. I think I have to bump that up. I also did not know that was what the new American Horror Story was based on, which I have not kept up with. But okay, like convinced I have to read that.
Yeah, it was good. I think you'll like it.
Awesome. Jordaline, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your channel?
Sure. Oh my God. My name is Jordaline. I'm an icon. Basically, my channel is focused on whatever I decide my personality is that month. I would say like my claim to fame is probably horror, but I read a lot. Right now I'm in my BL era, so I'm just reading a bunch of gay shit about men just fucking each other. So that's been my life. I've also been in like a reading slump, so I can't think of the last book that was 5 stars. I'd probably say what was it called? Vita Nostra. Probably was my last. Oh, by the way, hi Meg. It was probably my last.
What is that one called?
Vita Nostra. It's a dark academia novel. It's like fantasy dark academia vibe.
Okay, that sounds. I mean, that sounds interesting. I haven't been reading a whole lot of dark academia lately, but maybe that's a fun one to put in like a vlog or something. Jordaline is icon.
The icon.
The icon.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is my phone. I'm so sorry. My mother-in-law is calling me. I was going to ask you. So, if you've been reading a lot of like erotica or romance, have you read Chuck Tingle's other books at all?
No. So my BL obsession is literally just like yaoi or like Asian dramas.
Okay. I'm not I don't know all the terms. What does BL stand for?
It's boys love. Oh. And then yaoi is basically like Japanese, I guess, like gay manga.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh. So I've been really into just dudes.
Yeah. Have you seen also Red, White, and Royal Blue?
I read it a few years ago, and honestly, I was kind of like, this is mid.
I don't remember loving the book so much, but the adaptation was so good, and I fell in love with both of those men. Like they
look so hot. I haven't watched it yet, though. I also haven't watched the second season of Heartstopper, and I really need to.
Oh, I started that, and I have not finished it. But yeah, same. So much, just soft joy and love.
Just give me gay shit, and I'm so fucking happy.
Well, we brought you gay shit today.
Yay! I'm so glad you chose me for this book, honestly. Reading it, I was like, this is such my vibe.
Oh, good. So let's see. We should talk about the book, I suppose. Katrina, do you think you could give us a synopsis of this and just let us know for anybody who has not read this yet? And by the way, y'all, we're in non-spoiler right now. I will let you know before we get into spoiler territory. So if you have not read it, you can, exit out, come back later after you've read it. But if you haven't, maybe this non-spoiler section will give you an idea of whether or not this is something that you'd be interested in. But yeah, Katrina, do you feel comfortable giving us a little synopsis of what it's about?
Yes. So I really like the short synopsis that is on Goodreads because it doesn't give anything away. It is, how does it go? It's like tucked in the hills, in the mountains of Neverton, Montana, is the number one gay conversion camp in the country, and why they're so successful is less than holy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very good, very nice. The synopsis was very, very general, and I think I had a completely different expectation of what I thought this was going to be based on that.
Ditto.
I did notice that typically in a synopsis, you'll have like, oh, we're following this character and this person's going through this. There was none of that in this. And so I just like, in my head, I was thinking this was going to be, first of all, set at Camp Damascus and following someone who is queer, but also who is feeling oppressed, and like the rest of the characters I expected to be like these clowns, and that's really not how it was. It kind of flipped the script around. And we're following Rose Darling, who is very much a devout Christian. And so by showing that side of it, I felt like it was actually really a good way of like not judging, not preaching about anything, but saying like, hey, like we see Rose and we get to know her, and like Rose is a good person. And I hope I'm not showing my bias. I'm gonna try not to be biased. But we see like how she navigates the world through Christ and through God, and her devotion, it seems very pure. It seems very like good. and until we start finding out more and more about what's going on with her. Like, I don't want to get, it's not spoilers yet, but what did you all think about that? Let me see here. As far as like your expectations going into this, as opposed to like what it actually turned out to be, like the tone or the themes and the characterization.
I thought, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I thought, I was honestly in the same boat as you, where I was like, it's going to be about a guy and he's like, gotta escape the camp or whatever, you know? Yeah. But when it was like, first of all, a girl, I was like, work. Second of all, and then when she wasn't even in the camp, but like, I was like, oh my God, this is better than I expected. To talk about like her belief in Jesus or whatever, I really enjoyed how there was like a duality between her belief in science and her belief in God, where like, because also later in the book it's mentioned that she's like neurodivergent and like likely autistic. So she has this sort of like logical, rational side to herself, but it's kind of almost like competing against her belief in Jesus Christ. And I really enjoyed that about the book. I thought that was like a really interesting way to play with like God versus science or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then her curiosity, her innate curiosity is really what propels the story forward. And also it's very much like a point of contempt with her parents, who also on the surface, like, they are just trying to do the right thing for their daughter, but like they're saying, hey, if you're looking too much into these things, if you're trying to overanalyze it, then you're not trusting God.
Yeah. And so, like, don't question it. Don't question it. It's fine. Everything. She's like, are you sure? They're like, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, they're like, curiosity is evil. Yeah. It's like, that was like very like the puritanical like talk and like the vibes and stuff reminded me of like the Salem witch trials or something. Yeah. I was like, oh dang, why are they talking like Puritans?
You don't need to read, you have Jesus.
Yeah. It was also like, at first I was like, oh no, is this whole book gonna be like this? Like, I was a little worried at the beginning of being in Rose's head like that. I was like, oh no, is she gonna say Jesus all the time? Like, we'll find a way and stuff. I was like, ugh, because I grew up Southern Baptist. It's like, I've been there, done that. It's like, This is like, it is hard to not be triggered when you come out of like religious family stuff too. I read a couple of reviews like that and they were like, oh my gosh, like this just like, I almost put it down like for a second. And but I'm glad I stuck through. I really liked where it ended up and the way he did, you said flip the script. I really liked it.
Yeah, I definitely like this touched on a couple things in here that really like strike me personally and make me like, that could be triggering. Like, I have some religious trauma, but the religious part of it did not bother me, to be honest. But then also the neurodivergencies, which I want to get more into in spoilers, with Rose, I really connected to her in that aspect. So what did you guys, I guess before we get too deep into this, oh my gosh, I didn't even ask everybody in the comments if they had read this or not. Y'all, if you read this, put a star in the comments. And if you did not read it, put a heart, just so we can get an idea of who has read this and who has not. And then, Okay. Yeah. So bad, Survivor.
Yeah. None shall come out unscathed. That's what I always say. Like,
oh my goodness. Yeah. So while they're doing that, why don't y'all tell me what do you think your ratings are going to be for this, or have you come to a decision, or what do you think rating wise that this is going to fall?
I mean, I finished reading it like 10 hours ago, so let me just like I would say I think honestly, I think I'd give it 5 stars. Like I fucking loved it.
Oh, wow, yay. That's
It was
awesome.
really, really good.
Same. I feel like if anything, it would be like a 4.5, which I just round up anyways usually. So yeah, I really liked where it went, and you could tell Chuck Tingle is a huge horror nerd, and for this to be a horror debut and it to be so flawlessly executed, the way he set up stuff and how it was executed at the end was very clever. You could tell he has a true love of the genre, like to pull in all these different tropes and stuff and make them work so well together.
Also, the fact that bro literally went from like dinosaur gay smut to this is literally iconic, and I live for it. I love it so much.
Really interesting character. I actually just right before we got in here, I watched a YouTube interview with him, and he still had the same, like the bag over the head, the sunglasses. Like he is very much protecting his identity. But even his voice, like, is like he is a character. He is a character.
That up. Does he not show his face?
I don't think he does. I don't
see
that.
Because I think I saw a photo in the back of the book of him in the bag, and I was like, that's weird.
That's literally what he looked like in the interview. Like, that's literally what he looked like.
Oh, I love, though, that it says love is real. That's so fucking cute.
Mm-hmm. And so he identifies on the autism spectrum as well as with the queer community. So in this interview that I saw with him, he was saying how people ask him like about his personality and about himself, because he does have this layer of kind of like this wall up where no one knows what he looks like and all of that, kind of giving like a Maud Dixon era. But he's like, well, if anyone's wondering how my autism shows up, like how it manifests, it's Rose Darling. That's what he said. He said her autism manifestations are exactly what he experiences: the counting, the making note cards for conversations, the just hyper fixating on information and things like that. So I really, really appreciated that you put that into the story. Hey, Katie.
Hey, Katie. Bonjour, Katie. How are you? Literally.
I have also, like, I've been on a journey trying to get actually like a diagnosis for myself for being on the autism spectrum as well. Because like there's been signs and then just over the last like maybe 6 months or so, like I had a couple conversations with my mom. You know what? I think this might be the case. And the second that popped into my head, like so much of my life made sense. And so I really connected to that within this story as well. Not to get like super personal, but yeah, that's definitely something I'm exploring right now and trying to figure out. So yeah, but I think
for women to be diagnosed, isn't it?
What's that?
It said it's difficult for women to be diagnosed.
And adults too. Yeah. I'm still like researching, trying to figure out where I can do that anywhere near me, and not go into it in a way that's like, that's like, I am this, tell me I am this, you know? Yeah. I want to go into it in a way that is unbiased so that I can truly know, you know? Yeah. But yeah, I do have some critiques about this novel, but I think I'm giving this a 4-star. I think I'm giving it 4 stars.
4 stars isn't bad.
Yeah, 4 stars is really good. And the more I think about it, the more I am enjoying it. I did feel like it read a little bit YA at times. And this was a critique that I saw Ashley, when she was reading this for her 24-hour horror-thon, she thought as well. But I also think it's difficult because of the whole like purity religious idea. I think that just does come off as immature sometimes.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And so I think that definitely has something to do with it. But it did read a little bit YA for me. And then some of the pacing was just not like, I didn't find myself wanting to keep picking it up. But other than that, like the more I think about it and the themes of this, I'm really, really, really appreciate it.
I liked that it read like younger, like that, because I think it's more open. It leaves it more open for more people to read it. Like you can be like, oh yeah, a teenager can read this, like, and I think that it having like more people reading it is better than making it like fully adult, but it definitely like new adult vibes in it. Yeah,
it's accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're supposed to be like 20, you know.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing with in this religious group where they take 2 years, 2 years in between to study God. Did y'all know that was a thing?
No.
I didn't know that was. Is that?
Can you imagine? just study the Bible for 2 fucking years. Oh, that's a nightmare.
Oh man, yeah. And I was actually thinking about like, how much of the Bible did he study to write this book?
Yeah, I wonder if he's religious.
Is he religious?
I don't know. I'm just wondering.
I don't know. I feel like if I had finished that interview, I would have known, but I didn't get all the way through. I've been masking for 50 years. I don't know how not to mask. Oh, I totally get that.
So I like your username, Skeleton Key.
Yeah. Tone is YA though, the neurodivergence, being secluded and stunted inside, close-knit type of community makes sense.
Bro, the scene where she's at that party and they're doing like the truth or dare, the way that I was like taken back to my teenage years.
Oh, that's funny. Y'all, in the comments, go ahead and let us know what you rated this. If you read it, let us know in the comments what you rated it. Sorry, I'm a little behind on like the interaction part. You'll have to excuse me. I'm out of it. I've got a 3-day weekend and I'm already in vacation mode. So I'm sure some of y'all are too. And the Bible Belt. Even we would be okay putting off education for 2 years for Bible study. 4 stars. Yeah.
2 stars, Crystal. That's wild.
Oh. You know, I like when people have different opinions because it tends to make a good discussion.
Yeah, I love arguing. Just joking.
You're not kidding. I know you're not kidding.
No. How dare you, Crystal?
Another 5-star. That's awesome. I'm so glad so many of y'all enjoyed it though. Let's see. Okay, so
Leslie too.
What would y'all say were maybe some trigger warnings for people who have not read this and maybe have to check triggers?
Homophobia.
100%.
Yeah.
I would also say like parental trauma as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Because like her parents were at best just the worst. Oh, and bugs. That's a good point. Cthulhu.
Yeah. Like insects.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then her parents, she coughs up the thing and they're like, it's fine, you're okay. And she was like, no, is this normal? This is not normal.
They go to the hospital and they're like, no, you're fine. You probably just like swallowed larva. What?
At the lake.
Nasty.
Flies give me the ick. Yeah, I thought some of the scenes like with the flies. So the manifestation of the queerness, of the gayness is showing up in the form of flies being birthed from one's mouth, for anyone who hasn't read this and doesn't understand that. There's also like obviously like religious stuff in here. There's like talk about demons and things like that. So, but there are some theories that I want to discuss too about all of that once we get into spoilers. But yeah, it's kind of culty religion type stuff. I honestly though thought that the parents were not shown in a way that was really like awful. Like obviously the way their characters turn out and the way it turns out in the end, like we're not team her parents, but I do think that this does a good job of showing how religion can be well well-meaning if not misguided. I think that a lot of the people in this story were well-meaning. And it's just, that's like the whole dynamic between like good and evil, you know, that's what, when it comes to like superheroes even and stuff like that, the best villains always come from a place that they think what they're doing is right. And that they think what they're doing is going to help somebody and that they're justified in their behavior, that the end justifies the means. And I feel like he did a good job navigating that with this whole story.
Yeah. You can definitely tell their motives and like, I guess, I don't know. I guess their aversion to her queerness, you could say it's coming from a place of love, even if that love is rotten and literally like festering with disease, you know what I mean? But
yeah, like just the idea of being saved. I went to oh my gosh, I don't know if I should tell you this story. Maybe I shouldn't get into it. I don't know everybody's political and religious views. Maybe we shouldn't get into that. I was in a church setting once, let's just say that. And it was kind of similar to this. And this was as an adult after like I had, you know, done my own thing and, you know, just going with a friend to hang out. Actually, I went to see the music. They had great music. Anyway, I got to a point where I was like very stressed out and I went outside to smoke a cigarette afterwards because I was just like, I need a second. And then they swarmed me and told me that I was going to heaven addicted, and that I was going to hell, and that I needed to be saved and like all of this stuff because I was just smoking a cigarette. And I was like, I can't do this. And so like that really like reminds me of that.
Crazy.
This was a very interesting, like there's so much more to that story that I'm not going to get into because I don't want to offend anybody, but yeah, it was an experience for sure.
That's awful.
In a way, Rose's parents showed more love for her that my friend whose dad totally cut him off when he came out. Oh, that just like makes me...
I think her mom especially, like the last, oh wait, never mind. I don't want to get into any spoilers yet.
Spoilers. I think we can get into spoilers now. I think it's about time. If you've been here since the beginning of this discussion, I think you probably have an idea of whether or not you want to pick this up. So let's go ahead and just say that we're going to go ahead and get into spoilers. That way we can just talk freely.
Spoiler warning.
And so if you have not read the book and you don't want to be spoiled, this is your time to exit the building and come back and watch it, you know, whenever, if you've finished the story. So yeah, let's go ahead and just get into spoilers.
Her mom, towards the end, when she, what was that girl's name? Tiffany? I don't remember her name. She was talking to that girl and then she was like being super suspicious. And then the girl was like, you're super suspicious. And then she left. And then her mom was like, hey, we know that you're like doing all this fuck shit. And she was like, ugh. But then I thought it was interesting though, that her mom was like revolted in the fact that she was becoming self-aware, but also was like, run. I thought that was interesting.
And how much money it cost too. Like, I think that her rubbing it in her face, like being like, you don't know how much like we spent on this and it didn't work and you got to go.
Like, I think I would rather just be gay. Just like $500,000 or being gay. I'll be gay. I'm gonna go down the gay route.
Yeah, for sure.
My parents would be like, they'd be like, yeah, be gay. Like, I'm not paying that.
Pay $500,000, Mom, or just let me be gay. I think, just be gay.
Yep. So, like, generally, let's just kind of let's go over what happens. So we find out that she, in fact, has already been to Camp Damascus. That when we are entering the story, when we are beginning the story, she has already been brainwashed. But the brainwashing is, well, I don't know if it even is brainwashing, because what's happened is they've been tethered to these demons. And these demons are meant to torment them whenever they have impure thoughts or whenever they're led to temptation. And the cool part the part that I thought was cool actually was when she mentioned at one point that these demons are like flesh and blood, and hey, they can be killed. And what if they are just part of the multiverse and they are just regular beings in a different dimension, and we found a way to bring them to our dimension? And what if that is an explanation for all religion, for God, for the devil, for everything? And I was just like, what? Like,
yeah, I love that. I liked that explanation. And I also thought of it kind of like as a spiritual lobotomy almost, like they're getting like a part of their brain like kind of removed or like sheltered by this demon. Like when they go to the camp and there's that kid, he's just standing there like drooling with the archery, and he's like, are we gonna do archery? Like it's like he's so like out of it. Like I was like, these are like lobotomy victims.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah, I didn't either. Has anybody known someone who's been sent to a conversion camp?
No. Thank God.
I haven't.
I can't even imagine how fucking horrific that would be.
Oh, yeah. Awful. In a way. Okay, yeah, we read that. Well put. Let's just get caught up here. Best friend was sent every summer during high school. His parents were wonderful about everything except for his sexual orientation, and that severe ideology was ever present. Wow.
That's so sad.
I hope you're doing okay now.
That is sad. I'm gay. My mom is super religious. I feared they would kick me out of the house, so I didn't come out until I graduated college. Asians stay in their parents. Now they're fine. Oh,
I'm so glad to hear that.
I'm really glad. Not Tiffany.
Always Tiffany. Tiffany.
Turn horror fantasy. Oh, What would you consider this fantasy? I mean, I guess so.
If not fantasy, maybe like sci-fi-ish, like with how they, like the way it was explained.
And like the rift in the space-time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can see that too.
Also, okay, can I just say, I absolutely like lived, laughed, loved that like they had name tags. But like, and then he was like, "Why do they wear name tags?" And she's like, "I don't know." And then it was never explained.
Oh, because they're at work or something. Like they're this is their job.
They're at work. I love that
so much. So Rose finds out that she's gay as she's getting her memories back. Like she's starting to get these little memories back, and the whole time, like at the beginning, like you were saying during the spin the bottle scene, when she really like you can tell that she has feelings for her friend. What was it, like Marguerite or something like that? Marina, was that it?
It was an M name, I can't remember.
And she's like, I don't know why I'm so fascinated by her. It's not like I'm gay. Like
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that like the gay panic of her choosing like somebody to go in the closet with, relatable. Like that whole thing, I was like, oh my God, no.
I really wanted her to pick Rose because Rose wanted it so badly. You know?
Pick me, but don't pick me. But pick me, but don't pick me.
Oh man. And so let's see.
Oh, to look like Cam. See, I also thought that Marge.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Like when they first mentioned polos, I was like, is it because they're camp counselors?
Because they're what?
Camp counselors.
Oh yeah. Oh man. I honestly think Chuck knows a lot about religion. Pictures of hell made by artists during the Dark Ages and the Renaissance period. Wow. Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen like people's renderings of what angels look like in the Bible?
No.
Oh, Google it later. It's literally terrifying.
Oh, they're like demons.
Oh, interesting. So yeah, after she discovers that she is in fact gay. Oh, and then she meets Saul. What did you guys think of Saul?
I thought I liked him, but I wasn't crazy because he was such a late addition. Mm-hmm. But he was fine.
He was so good. He's like so wholesome.
Yeah.
I felt like
be my bestie.
I did like that because it seemed as though like towards the latter half of the novel, Rose was like, fuck Jesus, like I hate that guy or whatever. But Saul was like, I believe with all my whole heart and I'm still queer as fuck. Like I really liked that his character had showed like that that queer people can identify and believe and have like real actual faith, and that it can be and that it come from like a place of love rather than judgment. I don't know, straight religion, which is not.
Yeah, for being a minor character, he felt very genuine and like realistic, which I like. Which is tough to do with like a minor, like halfway through the book. Here's another character, and actually care about him.
Why though? When we first were introduced to him in his hangar, did I picture him as Jaime Lannister from Game of Thrones? I have no idea.
With like tattoos and piercings.
Piercings.
That would be like, kind of hot though.
Yeah, I pictured him hot. And then what did I want to touch on? Oh yeah, so in the interview that I saw with Chuck Tingle, he talks about, hold on, let me get my notes here because I don't want to misquote him. Where is it? Okay, so he talks about how his like process for writing, how most authors will, either focus on the characters and let the characters guide the story. And in his perspective, he said that his intention was to focus on the meaning and what's coming, like, what is this for? What are you getting out of it? And then the characters and the plot were secondary to that for him, which I think is interesting. And on that note, he wanted what people took away from this to be exploring queer joy and also catharsis, like this moment of catharsis of like, hey, we're in this together. You are not alone. Like we can change things. Like you can be safe and you can have joy. And I really like that idea of wanting to have something like that, because as opposed to what I initially thought this was going to be going in was just going to be, like getting shat on by the man, ended up being, this kind of found family situation where they take control of their lives and, find that joy in there. And so I thought that was really beautiful.
Yeah. And there's kind of a love story too in it, right? With Rose. It kind of gave me Eternal Sunshine vibes of her remembering her girlfriend and stuff. It was so cute. I was like, oh, she loves her. Like, that's so cute. And she's like, I can't even like deal with this right now. Like, that's straight out of Eternal Sunshine.
Oh.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's cute. And I was rooting for them.
The whole book, I was like, please kiss.
Yeah.
Be together.
Yeah, and they really didn't get too much into that. I mean, they did like end up together, and they feel like the freedom to explore their relationship, but we don't really get a whole lot past that with their relationship. But the part where she's like doing the tapping with her, and Rose is like, I didn't even know she knew that about me, or that she knew enough to like do it with me, and it just felt like that comfort of somebody gets me and somebody has my back. Like that was sweet.
Yeah, and like the flashbacks to them just like listening to the same song, like with the headphones and dancing and stuff. I was like, oh, it's so cute. Aw.
And her being like embarrassed by her dancing, but then her girlfriend was just like, oh, it's so cute.
Yeah.
If I see a heterosexual relationship, I'm gonna set myself in the book on fire.
Literally me while reading it, I was like, nobody better be straight. Nobody better be straight. You all have to be gay. Honestly, I just go by that for my life, though.
Nobody better be straight at all.
Everyone's gay. You just don't know it yet.
So what did you all think of the, I know I told you what I thought about it. What did y'all think of the neurodivergent rep?
I'm not really like an authority on the subject because I haven't read that much fiction with like neurodivergent, specifically like autistic main characters.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved Rose so much. I think honestly, she's probably the reason why I loved the book so much, because her character was just so intrinsic and just fascinating to read about, especially with her inner narrative, and then also just her way of sort of unfucking her mind. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I loved her.
I really liked her too.
Like, no, don't worry. There's time. There's time.
Oh man. So let's see. What have we not touched on that y'all want to mention about the story?
What did you think of the rep, Katrina?
Oh, yeah. Again, I'm not like a huge, like, I'm not sure about it. Like if it was done well or not done well. I think it was done well because it wasn't used as a crutch either, like at all. That's what I noticed reading like vintage horror and stuff. Like when you have somebody with a disability, it's like, oh, it's either a crutch or it's like they're magical or something. So like seeing it just be like, oh yeah, that's just how she is. Like,
yeah. It was like,
that's
it was like as like an afterthought too, which I thought was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
When it was mentioned, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then it was, we move on. We move on.
Yeah, like she already knew when she saw the file. She was like, oh, duh. And it's like, I think we knew too, like already. Like, that's what I liked about it. It felt truthful.
It wasn't like in your face. It was like, look, this is just part of who I am, and here I am.
Yeah.
You know? So I liked that. And I thought it was not overbearing, but also, yeah, I think it's a really good point that you mentioned that it wasn't used as a crutch, because that's if anything, I feel like it was to her advantage, because that's how, like we were talking about earlier with her sense of curiosity, how she was able to even have any of these memories. And that's how she connected with Saul as well, because he was also very, what's the word? Huh?
He's always listening to death metal.
Yeah, he's very like, he likes to dissect things. He's got a mechanical mind, like the way that he
analytical.
Yeah, the way that he thinks is just like he's constantly curious. So I think
do you think the book could have worked as well if Rose was a man and it was about a gay man rather than a gay woman? Because while reading it, I was like, it's interesting that this is about like a gay as fuck woman. Like, that scared me. Again, while reading it, I was like, it's interesting that he decided to make it about a woman and not a man, because I'm assuming he's probably more familiar with like the masculine side of queerness.
I wonder if I don't know. I wonder if it's more like approachable to have a female lead character.
Yeah. And they, or maybe, because I was also thinking like it might be to represent the intersection between gayness and femininity, and how those things intersect, and how like I think for queer men there's still like a privilege because you're still a man, but for women it's like you're gay and you're a girl, so like you know, so I think that was interesting, and I don't know, maybe that's what he was going for.
That's a good point. Yeah, I can totally see that.
Because also her parents were like, be with Isaiah or whatever that guy's name was. And she was like, literally have no interest, but thanks.
Yeah, they're like, you're 20 now, have kids.
And Isaiah like threw a fit when she was not into him.
Yes.
He like punches the window. Like, it's like dramatic.
Like, oh my gosh, Isaiah, relax.
Yeah.
Like literally. Lesbian books out there, and not the ones that are YA contemporary romance horror. That's what I'm saying. Like we need more like queer women in horror, like in terms of like representation. I know that there's like a lot of queer women who write horror, which we live, we laugh, we love, thank God. But oh, you know who I think does really good like lesbian horror? Haley Piper. That bitch.
Yes.
I would eat, steal anything that's into the world. I love her so much.
I think I'm meeting her after Halloween for Halloween Hangover here in Richmond. So I'm excited. Yeah, I'm so excited. Queen of Teeth was my first book club pick in July. So that was like a really fun discussion and stuff. So yeah, that's one of my favorite books this year. It was fun.
Okay, so I've never read a Haley, or is it Haley Piper?
Haley Piper.
Mm-hmm.
I've never read one. So what would y'all recommend?
I've only read 2 of her books. I haven't read Queen of Teeth. It's been on my TBR for so long, but
I would start with Queen of Teeth.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's vagina dentata, like monster living in your pussy kind of energy, and we live.
That I'm here for that.
Because I really like The Woman is Kings as well, but it's very cosmic horror, and that's not everybody's vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like sewer cult.
It's so bizarre. I love it.
Yeah, I haven't decided if cosmic horror is my thing or not yet. I love the idea of it, but I don't think I've found a book that really hit me yet.
Have you read The Ballad of Black Tom?
No, I have not.
You need to.
That's a good one.
Victor Laval will convert you.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to make a list here of all these. I'm gonna have to go back through make a list of all these book recs. And speaking of book recs, do y'all have anything that you would compare this to? Even like movies, TV shows, books, that if you liked this, you think they would like that, or if you didn't like this, you think they would like that?
While I was reading it, I was reminded constantly of Rosemary's Baby, the movie. Especially with the scene where she's in the hospital, she's in the ambulance, and she's having like flashbacks to her in the camp, and she's like on that slab, and everyone's like, praise Jesus, Satan, or whatever. I was like, oh, this is giving like Rosemary's Baby vibes, like when she's like on the thing, and then Satan is like, you know.
I've not seen Rosemary's Baby.
What? Delicate Conditions, very Rosemary's Baby-esque too. Oh, it's so good. Yeah.
It's such a good, it's like one of my favorite movies of all time. You have to see Rosemary's Baby. It's so good.
I'm gonna have
and then her husband was like, I was a little bit rough last night. Sorry. And she's just like having the flashbacks of it being like the devil.
Excuse me? What?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. I loved Natalie Glasgow. That shit was so creepy.
Possession.
It's like a possession.
Glasgow. the only thing I could think of that compared to this in my mind, and I don't even like actually this comparison because I did not enjoy that book, but some people did, and that was Hyde by Kirsten White.
Awful.
Kind of gave, yeah, I really didn't. So the writing, not at all similar, but some of the themes in there, as far as like having this manifested monster, having this kind of religious culty energy, and also the like YA feeling of the characters for me. So that kind of gave me the same dynamic, but this one I would definitely recommend before that one.
Yeah, don't read Hyde. It's not good. It's crazy that she was like, let's do another horror book.
Yeah. No comment on Mr. Magic. So
that one,
I thought of there's a documentary called Jesus Camp. That's really disturbing and messed up. But on a fun side, on a lighter side, But I'm a Cheerleader with Natasha Leone. I love that movie. It's so funny and like just fun, like a fun comedy. And as books, there's a slasher called Long Night at Lake Never by Eric David Roman. I think it's on KU, but it's like a slasher that takes place at a conversion camp. And then I thought of Mary by Nate Cassidy.
Oh,
a little bit too. So
I read Mary last month or the month before and really loved it. I'm so excited about his new book that's coming out on Halloween.
I think I would literally start a cult for Nat Cassidy. Like I would, or if he started one, I think I would join.
Yeah,
like not even joking.
Same.
Katrina, let's do it together. Let's start a Mary cult.
This is it. This is the
Yes.
we don't even know. Okay, I've never heard of the I'm a Cheerleader, but I'll have to look into that one too. It's like
you have to. It's so also just confirmed for me how gay I am. I was like, while watching that movie, I was like, I'm so fucking gay. It's such a good movie. It's so good.
That's awesome. All right. Well, it's been about an hour, so I think it's probably time to wrap this up a little bit. I really, really appreciate both of you joining me in this discussion and taking the time to read the book with me this month. Do either of you have anything coming up that you want to promote? Any videos that are coming out, or readathons, or your book club for next month if you want, Katrina? What's going on with y'all coming up?
I actually haven't decided on October yet. I'm horrible at planning, but I am a co-host for Hollow Weekend. That is happening in October with Lexi from Books with Lexi, and there's lots of fun stuff going to happen. We're actually doing each host is hosting an event, so like a Halloween themed event. So it'd be like a little party every weekend in October for that. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, it does sound like fun.
Cute. So every year I do Spooky Smart Bitch. I'm going to do it again this year, probably at the end of September. I've been procrastinating on it, so I haven't actually announced it yet, but it's going to happen. And then my Patreon, we're reading Riley Sager this month. And then in October, we're going to be reading the new Nick Cutter book with Gabby, Mikay, and Jan, who are literally icons.
I actually just read that this month, and I'm not going to tell you my thoughts.
Is it the handyman method one? Okay, yeah.
I've been very mixed things. And then also when I read the synopsis, I was like, why did I choose this? It's so stupid.
The synopsis absolutely sold me on that one. She soft opened it, Katie says.
Oh, and then also I posted a new video today too, so if you want to watch it.
Yes, y'all go follow them. Links are down below, like I mentioned before. Next month for the Midnight Study Book Club, we're going to be reading Good Bad Girl by Alice Feeney. I hope that's what it's called. I don't have a copy of it yet, but that one should be a lot of fun. I'm going to be joined by my friend Michaela, as well as Haley, or who am I? Yeah, Haley Hughes. And so that should be a blast. Also in September, Ashley from Ashley's Little Library and Beth from Beth's All Booked, as well as myself, are bringing back round 2 of the Losers Club Readathon. That's going to be a week-long readathon, September 15th through 21st, where we read King books and all kinds. It's a King-themed readathon, but you don't have to read King at all if you don't want. But there's some fun prompts in there. What else is going on? I think that's all I need to mention at this point. So yeah, again, thank you all so much for joining me. I really appreciate you. And what do we think? Are we going to accept Camp Damascus into the Midnight Society cult of our own? Does it pass?
Yay.
No.
I think we can approve this this book for the Midnight Society. And I'm really glad that y'all enjoyed this. And that's going to be it, y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank y'all so much.
Thanks for having me.
Have a great rest of your weekend, long weekend for everybody. I know everyone's as excited as I am. And we will see you soon. And that's going to be it. Bye-bye.
Bye.